Hey there, Michelle. What's going on?
Hey, Lindsay, not too much. How are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Getting into the holidays here at All Ears English. So I don't know. The new
Yes.
year's coming up. Oh my gosh, it's going to be 2024 soon.
Ah,
Crazy.
maybe there's going to be a lot of snow, maybe a snowstorm. You
Who
never
knows?
know. Yeah. Do you ever have you ever had like a friend who has been maybe in some sort of bad weather situation, or maybe someone's in a hurricane, a snowstorm, and you need to check in on them?
100%, Michelle. Yeah, for sure. It's happened a lot. We've been having more and more kind of natural disasters due to climate change in the US and all over the world. So we're doing this more and more now. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. I mean, recently there's been a lot of things going on with the environment, like, a lot of
Wow.
hurricanes, floods, what was happening in Hawaii. I mean, we've had earthquakes, terrible things. But in September, there was a lot of rain and flooding in New York, and there were pictures of all this
Oh my
water
gosh.
coming into the subway stations. Do you remember that?
Were you in the subway at that
No,
time? Were you
no, no,
I
no. But
remember that.
yeah, no, no, no. I wasn't in the subway, but I did have to walk my son to school, and he only goes. Just a short walk, and it was very difficult. My friend sent me a picture of her feet deep in water when she was
Oh,
walking. I couldn't believe it, and my son's
oh.
school closed early, and
Mm.
when you get that big news, that big weather news,
Yeah.
people tend to check in on each other, right?
Right, for sure. I mean, the biggest one that stands out in my mind, I feel like on the Northeast was Hurricane Sandy back in
Yeah.
2013, 14. That was
Yep.
huge. But seeing those photos just in September of the subway, I mean, it's just so dirty, right? All the water that comes up and
Yeah.
people are trudging. Trudging is a good bonus word for today.
Trudging. I like it.
Trudging, just kind of moving our feet in a
Yeah.
laborious way. Scary, crazy stuff going on. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So do you tend to keep up to date on what's going on in these situations? Like if you have a friend who you know is in one of these places, do you tend to try and be involved or say something?
Yeah.
Or
I try
sometimes,
to.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I try to
As
too.
much as I can, I try to. Sometimes I miss things,
Yeah.
but I do my best. What about you, Michelle?
Yeah, I tried to. I mean, I remember recently, because my a lot of my family lives in Florida, and I remember there was a hurricane, and I was messaging with my cousin, and and Dan was messaging my aunt, and just to make sure.
Oh my
So that
gosh.
was some of the inspiration because for this episode, because this is a huge point of connection, guys. It shows people you care.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yes, and you wanna make sure that's clear, and of course you do care, right? So you wanna make sure they're physically okay.
Yes.
It shows them that you're connected, that you're thinking about them. It's never the wrong thing to do to send that
Right.
message. That's what I would say, right?
Right. 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 Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so guys, we are going to ask you to go ahead. Don't forget and hit follow, right? Hit follow on this show. I mean, the new year's coming. You want to build your listening queue on your podcasts, and All Ears English should be a part of that. To make sure you go and get our show 4 days a week, hit that follow button wherever you listen. And Michelle, should our listeners go back and check out any past episodes?
Yes. Well, just recently we did 2099 was how to switch topics like a pro for better connection. So that can help you out
Ooh,
with today too, because you want to be able to, maybe bring something up and maybe change the subject. And you have to really do that for connection. So this is good stuff to listen to along with today's episode.
yeah, I feel like that particular episode is going to be super useful for our listeners. I know what a lot of them struggle with is spontaneity in speaking, moving
Mhm.
between topics. So we show you how to do that over there, 2099. Let's get into
Yes.
it, Michelle. Today's topic.
Let's do it. Okay. So, now we have to think about, also what medium are we using? Are we using the phone? I mean, do you think people mostly call about this, or do you think text?
No, I think they text, but it
I
depends on
think
how
so.
close you are. If it were my
Right.
parents and where my parents live, they definitely do have hurricanes. They have it's scary, big
Yeah.
hurricanes in the Northeast. Sometimes I would call, right, and
Mhm.
call until I got an answer. But if it's a friend, maybe I know that they have lots of support, I'd probably be more likely to text. What about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think texting too. I know I texted my cousin, and
Yeah.
Dan was texting my aunt, and so that's of course, if it's yeah, it depends on your relationship with the person, but
Yeah.
I guess everything's different. So let's talk about text messaging. So to show concern on text, what's one thing you could say?
All right. I like this because it's very natural and native. So, "You okay? I heard there
Mhm.
was X in your area. So instead, we're not saying, "Are you okay?" We're
Yeah,
saying, "You okay?" That's
right.
interesting.
Right, that's why I wanted to focus on texting more specifically today because it is a different kind of way of talking. So, yeah,
Yeah.
you might not say, "Are you okay?" You might cut off the R.
Sure, and you can certainly say, "Are you okay?" as well,
Yeah.
but I think "you okay" kind of has a little bit more of an intimate feeling to it. Do you agree?
Mm. Yeah, because it's a little I think because it's a little less formal sounding, it almost just
Yeah.
sounds you're very close to the person.
Yes. Yeah, so it's a little mo so maybe reserve this for your closest friends, maybe a partner or something, right? It's pretty
Yeah.
intimate, but,
Right.
the important thing is sending the message and
Yeah,
giving it.
exactly. So you could say like, "You okay? I heard there was flooding in your area."
Yes, I love that one. And getting a little bit more distant, I guess, is just checking in, right? How are you
Mhm.
guys in the X? What do you mean by in the X?
So, in
In the
the
hurricane,
hurricane,
the flood?
just checking in, how are you guys in the heat wave? Maybe
Oh,
there's just, like,
yeah.
a terrible heat wave going on.
Yeah.
So you could ask about that as well.
Yeah. So for example, so you said it. That was the example. Just checking in. How are you guys in the flooding? How are you guys? It's an interesting construction. How are you guys in the I might add, how are you guys doing in the
Doing, you could say doing, yep.
Yep.
Doing in the heat wave, doing
In the
with the
snowstorm.
flood, doing in the yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah,
What
and you
else?
could say in the heat wave, or you could say in something, or you could say with something, right? How are you guys doing with the hurricane? How are you guys doing with the snowstorm?
Yeah, I like doing with better, but it's
Yeah.
personal preference here.
Yes.
We're not going to analyze this for grammatically correct. It's about communicating that you care about the person,
Yes.
right?
Exactly, exactly. And what's one more thing you could say?
Did you guys get caught in the X? Are you okay? Did you guys get caught in the snowstorm? Are you okay?
Mhm.
So following up, did you get caught in? So to be caught in
Mhm.
something means you maybe that literally means you become exposed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's you couldn't avoid it. You were caught, right?
Yeah, for sure. It makes me think a lot about I'm a hiker. I go hiking on the weekends a lot, and it's a different game out here than it was in the Northeast. You have to be a
Mhm.
lot more serious about the weather here. So, if you go
Mm.
hiking, if you do what we call the 14ers, meaning the 14,000-foot mountains,
Wow.
it'd be a long hike and you have to start early, like 6 a.m., because you need to
Uh-huh.
make sure you get to the top and get down from the top before thunderstorms start in the afternoon, and you're that
Mhm.
high, you're so high you could be exposed to thunderstorms. But in the Northeast, we never had to worry about that because it was never that high, and that kind of weather doesn't really roll through the Northeast quite as much as the West. So we
Mm,
say that
mhm.
hiking is no joke out here. It's no joke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds intense.
Yes, for sure. All right, do we have 2 more, Michelle?
We have 2 more. So this one is, did you get a lot of blank? Like, did you get a lot of rain?
I like it. I like it. Or did you get hit hard by the X? Like, did you get hit hard by the hurricane? That might
Mhm, mhm.
be these I feel like may work well after the fact.
Yes, yes, that's a good I mean, also the other one, did you? I mean, yeah, guys, think about the grammar we're using, did.
Yes.
If we're asking about yeah, you wouldn't say like, "Are you going to get" I mean, you could ask about like, "Oh, what" you heard that it's gonna be in someone's area, are you meant
Are
to,
you
like,
expecting
are you expecting it? Right, right,
Yeah.
right, but these are more for the past.
Right, so just to break it out here for our listeners to go back, the "you okay" and the "just checking in" are more for in the moment as
Yeah,
it's happening. Whereas, let's say 2 days later, did you guys get caught in the storm, or did you get a lot of
yeah.
X, or what's the last one? Did you
Did you get hit hard by
hard?
the
Yeah, those
yeah.
are definitely after the fact, I would say.
Yes, yes, yeah, good
Okay.
point, good point. I
Yeah.
mean, Lindsay, I think the whole point is what you keep on saying is that it it doesn't really matter completely what you
What you
say, it's just
say.
that you show that you care, right?
Completely.
And I think a text is usually fine, is good enough, I don't think you need to call. Maybe if someone's a little older, maybe they'd prefer a phone call,
Yeah.
or if you're close to someone, like, super, super close, you would probably call, maybe you talk to them frequently anyway, so you would probably call.
Yeah, I would like I said, I would call my parents, but pretty or my brother, but pretty much everyone else I'd probably, just text for the most part. Have you been in any we talked about the flooding in New York, but have you experienced were you in New York for Sandy?
Yeah, I
You
was
were.
yeah.
Okay.
We ended up, because, um, I ended up so it was funny. I had started so that was what? Was that October? I think so.
I think it was
Uh
September, October, yeah,
September? Yeah,
maybe.
so I had started dating Dan that March, and we were getting more
Oh.
serious, I would say, in, like, June, and we decided to, go to his parents' house in, the suburbs of New Jersey, and we ended up staying there a whole week, and
Oh
so it
my
was
gosh.
like,
Kinda like a
and
COVID lockdown or something, yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I knew and I we didn't have, power, so there was no heat
Whoa.
and, like
Was that your
yeah.
first time meeting his parents?
I had met them before, but that
Oh
was I
my
mean, we still
gosh.
talk about to that to this day. We were just in the hurricane together, and I mean, luckily we were safe. I do know some friends who had to evacuate their buildings and things like that. So luckily, we were okay, but it's a kind of an interesting story for spending a lot of time with your boyfriend's parents.
Yeah, sink or swim, as they say,
Yeah.
right? Sink or swim. Literally, no. Sink or swim.
Literally.
Yeah, that's a great expression for our listeners for a
Yes,
bonus
I just
today. That's
added that.
often used when you meet a partner's family for the first time and maybe their family is very loud or whatever they are. The partner might say, "Well, I'm bringing my partner, sink or swim." So they're just saying they have to make it work with my family because my family is my family.
Yep.
So that's kind of a fun use of that, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah, interesting. I
But
know a lot
what
of the
about you?
places
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, for in Denver, I luckily so far I haven't been in any super I've never been stranded, but I did have one day where we have major swings in weather here. I went out to take my dog for a walk in the park one day, and it was like 7 no joke, Michelle, it was like 75 degrees.
Mhm.
By the time we got halfway through the walk, the wind started blowing, and I said, "Oh my gosh, it's something's happening." And so we started heading back home. By the time I was coming home, my hands, I couldn't even have them exposed to the air. The weather, it had dropped to like 30 degrees.
What?
Or
Wait, what month was this?
I think it was October, late October. You have to be careful out here because we can have snowstorms in October here. And just the swings
That's
of temperature are
wild.
insane. Yeah. I was like, whoa, I clearly am not prepared to be in Denver.
Oh my gosh, you have to be prepared for any weather at any time. You have to,
Kind
like,
of.
have
I mean,
your
unless it's
shorts
like
and your
July.
gloves.
Yeah, kind of. I was literally running home. I was thinking it was
Oh.
like I have to get inside. It was
Oh my
wild.
gosh.
Yeah, that
Wow,
can
that's
happen here. So,
crazy.
anyways,
Yeah. And then
yeah.
I remember there was once a really bad snowstorm before my son was born. I was, like, super, super pregnant, and Dan
Yeah.
had to actually he couldn't drive home. He had to stay at a hotel near his
Oh my
work because he
gosh.
couldn't make it home. So those
Wow.
things can happen.
Yeah, in the Northeast, you definitely we in here in the West too, we get nasty snowstorms. But you know what? All of our listeners all over the world, they deal with weather in one way or the other. So this is you guys now have the skills to connect with people to find out how they are doing, right?
Definitely, definitely. Well, yeah, we don't have a role play for today because it was mostly over text, so we're just going to keep it to the text ideas.
Yeah,
But today we really talked to you about different ways you can check in with people, specifically over text.
I
Ways you
love
can
it.
check into them, during something that's happening, or if something already happened. But the biggest takeaway is send the message.
Send the message.
Don't worry so much. This is definitely a connection, not perfection moment.
Yes, 100%. You show up for the person. That's the lesson. Show up, connect, just ask. Don't be
Yep,
afraid of making a mistake, especially in this moment, right? Because they'll
that's right.
remember that you checked in, right?
They certainly will.
I love it. Okay, Michelle, good topic today, guys. Hit follow on the podcast to make sure that we drop right into your listening schedule 4 days a
All
week.
right.
All right.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
Take care, Michelle. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.